what would you say to all the people that found love in vacation, anywhere they go, and they're married, they have kids?
I think that's a different situation, though. Like that to me, like going and just randomly meeting someone on vacation is different than saying I'm going to go to.
We all on vacation
no,
ready to.
I know what you're saying, and sure, but that's different than saying I'm going to go over there and bring me back a wife.
Sounds more noble to me. It's like I'm gonna wipe somebody up. That's take care of that woman.
Well, that's because you're a little trad boy, dude. You're a very traditionalist.
I did. It's kind of funny, boys. I got a topic here that is pretty disturbing. No, not disturbing. A little hard topic. Conversation with the fellas. And it's about arranged marriages versus marriages that you just find naturally that you're in love with somebody. Is it wrong to still have arranged marriages, or do you find it wrong versus just normal way of getting married by loving somebody? What do you think, though?
I stumbled across some videos that started to talk about this, and I was very intrigued because you don't think about things. So I wasn't aware that this was still like prevalent in different countries. And sometimes in certain countries, you're able to separate with the partner if it doesn't work out. I know in some countries you probably can't do that. So I know there's like an ethical part and like a moral part of it. Is it like okay to do this? But the way I see it is like if these relationships are, you know what I mean, okay, and the people are decent people and they have kids and whatever, can you really say it's like a wrong thing? Like I don't I don't know if I could demonize or like put that type of like cast some sort of how do you say, like I'm not sure how to explain it, but like I don't know. You guys go ahead if you guys want.
So you find it okay to have arranged marriages? You agree with that?
Yeah, I think if as long as, you know what I mean, the two people are okay with it and there's no, you know what I mean. I think different places, especially places like India where it's really poor, I think everything matters. Like literally everything matters. Who you marry, what families you're marrying into, putting families money together, of houses together, shit like that. It's just, I think when you get to on a different scale, I think everything matters, and I don't think everybody has those freedoms in those places.
So there's a little bit of contradiction there, because arranged marriages is you arrange, it's out of your control. So whether you like it or not, it's going to happen.
There's not just one way of doing it.
Yeah, there's
what I was trying to
there's
explain.
a lot of different forms. Like there's the type of arranged marriages where like families would try to hook you up with people, but ultimately, you know, you meet this person. If you're like, oh, I'm not into this person, then you don't have to get married to them. Your family will introduce you to like 40 guys over the course of some period of time. And it's usually, I think, like from a gender perspective, I think the men tend to have more control. It tends to be women getting invited to men's families' home to meet a man, and a man deciding if they want to be with that woman or not. I don't know how forced it is on the woman's side of things, but I know like that's a form of arranged marriage. There's a form where they marry children from a super young age to a grown-ass man, or, you know, there's forms where they're like forced marriages to the point of like, okay, this little kid's gonna marry this other little kid when they come of age, and so there's a lot of different forms of arranged marriages for sure.
The one place that surprised me was Japan still does this. I was super surprised when I heard about this, because like marriage rates in Japan are super low, and like a lot of people aren't having kids over there. It's like a really big problem. Mm-hmm. So I was very surprised to see that Japan was doing stuff like that. I was like, wow. But
Yeah, I think with some of the qualifiers on there, like it changes the question a lot because like Pucho said, there's lots of different forms. Like I don't think anyone on here is saying that like a 14-year-old girl being arranged to marry like a 30-year-old guy, 40-year-old guy, that's a good thing and we should respect it just because that's the tradition, that's the culture, and that means that it's automatically okay. Because I think that that's a bad reason to use for justifying things that are traditional practices. I think that the idea that we've always done it this way, so we should just keep doing it this way is just it's a bad argument.
well, you think progression has something to do with it? You think because a lot of our grandparents married women a lot younger than them, and it was okay. So, do you think like being progressive and living in America and maybe these other countries haven't moved forward and it's still like back in the day over there when you go over there, is that, you know what I mean? Like, does that have something to do with it?
I mean, I think it's complicated because you start getting into this idea of pushing like Western influences onto other countries and things like that, right? But I think that there's some ideals that I kind of feel are universal. I don't think we should take advantage of children. I don't think we should take advantage of underage people. Me personally, I like having agency in my life. I would never, in a million years, want my parents to choose any of my partners for a romantic thing. If my parents try to hook me up with someone to date, I wouldn't be down for it. I sure as hell don't want my parents to choose someone that I'm gonna marry. Like that's
The only thing your parents should force you to do is hit the subscribe button, share, like, follow
For
on
sure.
all social media platform. We're on Discord. Join us.
Imagine that situation. You bring your kid in, and you're like, we have to have a talk, son. I noticed you're not subscribed to the One Up podcast.
Pull the laptop right in front of him. Pull it up. Hit that subscribe.
Hit
button.
it.
Hit the notification
Hit it.
bell.
Yeah,
What is this? You're subscribed to what? The Great Game Debate instead of the One Up podcast? Do both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Hey, I do find it. I always found that odd though too. Like I don't even know, like how that came about. I guess arranged marriages must have started just for like property value wise. I mean, because what back in the day they used to offer, oh, give me a pig or a cow or some type of fucking animal for your daughter, and it's just like boom, you got to do it. So I guess they just kind of put it into religion in some ways. I guess.
It went both ways because like I was saying, like there were dowries where like the men, like the women's family would be the one to give like the male like goats and things.
It's
But
probably
it was
where the tradition of women's parents paying for weddings came from too.
100%. And it's because traditionally women have been viewed as property and like goods and transactions basically. So this idea of getting rid of this burden, and it's like handing it off to a man and being like, now she's yours. You can take care of her. The father no longer has to incur the debt that goes along with raising her and blah blah blah. I think it's tied into some aspect of that, but I haven't looked into where dowries and things really came from.
And then there's like, if you look at any of the nobility in the past, they used women as like security almost, where they'll be like, all right, I have a noble house and I have an army and all this stuff. Tony has all that stuff, and maybe we're gonna beef over certain things in the future. But if we get our kids to marry each other, that's gonna force us to keep some peace between us. And that was a move that they used to do in the past too. They would join houses, so to speak.
Yep, very Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Facts.
What if today you tried to do that? Sir, join my house so we may put our forces together.
I can guarantee you that some aspect of that still happens in some of the upper echelons of culture and in society.
Ooh, the Rothschild married cousins. How ethical are you guys on that? Is that shit a no-no?
Marrying your cousin, I don't
Like
think
second, third cousins, is that shit like a no-go?
I think that there are several billion people on this planet. I don't think that I need to look into my own particular family tree.
But look, I mean, but you don't think that also like that lines you up for like mental disabilities in the future and shit like that, right?
It can. I mean, there's definitely a risk of like, that's the reason why incest has traditionally been something that people view as taboo, because there's genetic implications of it. Not to mention, I mean, especially like you look at like how small the world used to be. you didn't travel more than like 20 miles from where you were born, basically, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you're already getting into, if you're an inbred family line, and it's just gonna get worse and worse over time because that's all you're around.
I think
I
that
see.
what if you're fucking your cousin? You don't even know. Your third cousin, second cousin. You don't even know, right?
What do
And
you
then
think if
you
you
find
don't
out
know?
if you
Yeah.
don't find and if
You-
you
you
find
were-
out, do you continue it though?
You were adopted or something. Is that the hypothetical? That is this is a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
This
we're
is a
going
wild
really
one.
left.
No, it's
But,
okay.
yeah.
We're gonna go. It's all right. We're going everywhere with this. I feel like as long as you didn't know, I feel like once it comes out, you guys got to kind of make a decision whether, whether this is really gonna keep happening or is wrong.
Bro, it's gotta stop. It gotta
Okay, here's the thing. As long as you're having protected sex,
You don't find it wrong. You're fucking your cousin.
as long as you're not, you don't make babies with that person, and there's some sort of chance where you're gonna endanger some little baby's life.
Damn.
It's protected sex. You're just having protected. If two people are consenting,
Your cousin though.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
if they're
saying, like, your
they're
aunt's
saying
daughter?
If you don't know, they're saying if
Yes.
you don't know this person,
But then you find out. You're gonna continue
but
on.
then you find out, and then
Well-
you guys
well,
already have a relationship.
Well,
if you guys,
in the hypothetical, you wouldn't know that it was your aunt's daughter because you would have been like adopted by a different family or something, right?
You're adding a variable of adoption. I'm just saying you find out she's your cousin.
Well, how else would you find out? Like someone
You
who's
go to a
randomly your
club. You go to a club or whatever, and you just fucking. You don't even know y'all cousins, and then next thing you know, you go to a party. Oh, hey, that's your cousin, and you're like, "Fuck." Do you stop fucking? Or do you keep fucking? He said, as long as you wear a rubber, you're good to
I
go.
would say if you're two consenting adults, you guys talk about that shit, and you guys are like, "Yo, I still want to fuck." And what?
That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Just
for
saying.
me, the whole like the incest thing for me is mostly wrong on the level of like the power dynamics of the relationships you have with your family. So like somebody who's grown up their whole life, they have this big cousin or whatever, and if they go and try to have a sexual relationship, like there's some power dynamic there where like that big cousin might have they might be able to coerce you into doing things that you wouldn't normally do because of just their position. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
But I feel like if you don't know this person at all, then the only negative aspect of this comes down to whether you're going to have a baby or not. And
Well, there's
if that doesn't happen, then I don't really see what the issue is.
I mean, there's societal pressure too, right? Because like you're gonna have to juggle. Is this a story we share with people? Is this our family gathering is going to be weird? It's going to be like, man, these two cousins, they always show up to every family gathering together. They're in their 40s now. They never married. They live together because they said it makes sense financially.
For me,
But I'm saying, like, let's say these people don't know their cousins at all.
Uh-huh.
They don't know anything about each other. They never find out is something wrong occurring.
no, because they don't know.
No.
Right.
But if they do find out, that's a problem. I think that's when you
Why
need
is that a problem?
They
that
still
you
love
guys-
each other. They're
you
still
can love each other,
you
your
know what I mean?
family. You
But
can
hold
still
on,
love each other.
Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem?
Because you're fucking your cousin. Like, you're fucking your
Right.
aunt's child.
Yeah. You should think
I-
about
I-
this more because that's
I-
not an argument at all.
I think in this hypothetical, my main issue would be like the social side of it, like the family judgment side of it. That would be my main issue in that hypothetical, where you don't know your cousins, you find out, but you're already in an established relationship at this point. Let's say you've been dating for a year at this point, months or something.
Yeah, no, it makes it a lot rough. It makes it a little different. And you know what I mean? I'm not advocating for it, but I'm just saying if you do get stuck in this situation, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you have two decisions. You could either, you know what I mean, consent and like agree not to have kids or something like that, or you could stop it. There's like two decisions you can make.
That
But
should be stopped.
that's a decision for you to make. But I don't feel like people should be judged necessarily in that situation. That situation.
gonna judge you.
Now there are other situations, because I saw this video on Twitter the other day, and it came from TikTok, and it was this girl marrying her stepfather,
Yeah.
And she was, and it was like a bunch of like, it was like her wedding picture, and then like the post before.
How the fuck you saying yuck? You fucking your cousin. How you saying yuck? That's just they got no relationship.
I do think this is way different than the cousin hypothetical.
This is a power dynamic. There's different.
There's daddy issues
difference.
there. There's daddy issues there. I'm saying, but they're not blood related.
You go to you're taking two hypotheticals, Tony. You're talking about going to a club, meeting somebody your age, and y'all niggas is feeling each other, and then you're talking.
Here.
Age can be a problem in a relationship.
Be a problem.
So
Absolutely.
the dad's 40, she's 28. That's a problem there.
I don't think there's a 12-year age difference between the dad and the daughter.
I find it both oddly weird.
But even if there was a 12-year age difference, right? The problem would be in when this person came into the picture and things like that. Like if somebody became a stepdad to somebody when a kid was 6 and he was 18 and he started stepdadding this girl, and then a bunch of years later they start hooking up, like that feels pretty wrong, no?
You're gonna tell me
I'm saying they're both wrong. I'm saying, but
yeah, like I don't think there's something about the idea of sharing like a sexual partner with one of your parents. That is one of the grossest things in the world to me. The stepdad situation is so much grosser than this cousin hypothetical we're painting, where everyone's coming in ignorant to the situation. This is coming in with full knowledge of the situation and maybe nefarious ideas in your head about what you want out of this.
True, that's why I agree that they're both wrong. But he's trying to say, like he's making it seem like the cousin one's not bad at all. Like, nah, they're both equally bad.
No, there's no you can't equal it out. No, you can't do that. These are two different situations.
You're saying somebody getting with their stepdad is equally as bad as somebody who meets a person and they just get together and they stay together and they never know their cousins. That's an equal.
No. Now you're flipping it. No, they know they're their cousins. My argument is that you know.
Sorry, what's the bad part?
They're both bad. You know you're fucking your cousin.
Sorry, what's the bad part? It's just the knowing, just learning information automatically changes the act from a good act to a bad act.
I don't even think it's good. I think it's wrong.
So then, okay, so now if we retread the same ground, they yelled at me about, if two people hook up, they don't know their cousins, they never find out their cousins, do you think that's wrong?
If they never find out, no. If they find out and they continue, yes, that's wrong.
You can't even follow questions. So just the knowing of information will change the act that you're committing.
Yes, I said that already. But he knows that they're cousins, and he's saying that they're still fucked. Yeah, I said that. He says that they know that they're cousins, that he's still going to fuck if they're both okay with it. I'm saying, okay, that's terrible. And then now the stepdad trying to fuck his stepdaughter, that is also bad. Like, I agree with you. When did you come in the picture? That plays a big role. But it's still bad, regardless.
I said different things than that, but I also said you'd have to wear protection. You'd have to be. If you're not bringing kids into the thing, I think that there's a lot that comes with it.
I think that there's wiggle room in the cousin one where I could make the argument like I don't think it's that bad. The stepdad one though, I don't think there's any argument I can make where I would be like, you know what, it's not that bad. Even if you were dating, even if you were married to the mom for a year, and then you were like, you know what, I'm actually feeling your daughter, I'm gonna get with her. That's a fucked up thing to do. There's no moral like high ground there. You can't back that decision and defend it from a moral standpoint.
Well, the year thing's weird because it depends how old that girl is.
It doesn't matter. If you marry into a family and you are someone's stepfather, you should not be getting into a relationship with any of the kids that are.
What happens if you marry, right? You meet this chick, you marry her, and for a year you guys were together. Mm-hmm. Her daughter could be 28, 29 years old. Very grown up adult. You and your mother, or the mother or father or stepdad breaks apart or whatever. They link up, they have a good night. One thing leads to another, they're fucking, now they're together. I don't find that bad. You only knew this person as an adult. As an adult.
What?
Yeah, I'm with you on part of that, Tony. I don't think that the power dynamics portion comes into play.
Okay.
True.
But what comes into play is the morality of hooking up with one of your parents' partners. That feels
that's an argument.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to be around somebody's ex, whatever the fuck, or shit like that gets weird. Like, I couldn't even imagine bringing your mom's ex-man around again, talking about
Thanksgiving?
we're engaged, we're getting married. It's like, what the
Yes.
fuck? That just seems insane to me.
I've said lots of times that parents shouldn't hit their children, but you know what? That might be the situation where your mom can beat your ass for that one.
All I'm thinking about is like my mom's ex, this Taiwanese guy, Sushart, and
Oh,
Pantera.
Yeah, that guy was interesting.
Pantera.
The one thing that's interesting about the whole incest thing is everybody always seems to be in agreement on like, oh yeah, because they could have kids that could come out with mental problems, all that stuff. That's totally wrong. They shouldn't do it. But it's like you wouldn't make this argument for any other situation.
Yeah,
And,
like if you've got a genetic disposition to having whatever, right?
Right. Like now you're playing eugenics. Like this is what the Nazis used to do. And everybody seems to be in agreement that what the Nazis did when it came to eugenics was wrong. Where it's like, they were like, oh, you're autistic? Dead. Oh, these two people can have an autistic kid? Nah, you're not allowed to have children.
Whoa.
And-
crazy. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
they're
wasn't-
like, oh, this person is a paraplegic? Dead. Like they were killing anybody off that they wanted to eradicate bad genes from the genetic pool.
oh,
Yeah, I mean
shit.
that's
kind of feels like what people are saying when they talk about incest is like, nah, we don't want these two people to have kids because their kids could come out with problems. But like, what if just two random people were hooking up and they just happen to have genes that would cause problems? Would you step in and go, nah, y'all can't have kids if it's the equal chance in like an incest situation? I feel like people wouldn't do that. So I don't know. The whole gene argument, I feel like people like to bring it up and stuff, but I don't think they really believe it.
It was definitely more relevant before. Like I was saying, like especially when your world was smaller, so it increased exponentially because the chances of one of the kids of an incestuous relationship getting into an incestuous relationship themselves, like it was exponentially bad, right? But yeah, I think that my main issue with anything like that would be the social aspect. You're gonna show up to Thanksgiving with your cousin. I guess the cool thing is you only have to go to one Thanksgiving, right?
I guess. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I find it weird. And I find it very that y'all are like in somewhat of an agreement with it. I'm just like, damn, like.
I'm not in support of dating a cousin in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, see.
It's a cousin that you know that's your cousin and things like that. I feel like that's getting into really weird territory socially and different things like that.
Mhm.
But I also don't see the issue in like to me it mostly comes down to power dynamics. If you remove the power dynamics, I don't have much issue with this thing. Like even the genetic thing, people like to bring up the genes and stuff like that. It's like, take two fucking twin brothers that never met each other. They're having gay sex. It's like, there's no fucking babies that are going to come out of this. People will still be weirded out by that.
There was one on Twitter that just came out like that. There was some tweet where some guy was talking about how he just found out that his partner was his like long lost half brother or something. They found out they're like a genetic test.
Damn.
Yeah,
See,
that
I think the
sucks.
only time fucking a family member is when they're adopted. I think that's fine because there's not
No,
blood.
that's
When
terrible.
That's
when-
weird.
no,
Yeah, see,
nigga,
that's
that's lesser.
weird.
I'm giving you an out. That's lesser than actually
Nah.
having a blood cousin you're fucking.
I think it could be worse.
How
Like,
they're adopted?
You're saying like you grew up with somebody that, let's say this person's older than you, and this person just happens to get adopted from when they're a baby, and you grow up with them helping your mom take care of this kid, and they look at you like a big brother, and they listen to you because you're a big brother and things like that. Like this is the type of situation why bosses aren't really allowed to have relationships with their employees, because there's a power dynamic. There's certain things. There's a power that older siblings have over younger siblings.
Yeah.
Like similar to a power that like an employer could have over an employee. It's like, to me, that's what makes the shit horrible, is that a big brother might be able to convince a little sister to do some terrible shit that they wouldn't want to do, but they go along with it because it's their big brother. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I
mean,
think if your mom hooks up with some man and that man has children and now you guys are now like step siblings,
yeah.
but y'all are already kind of old, then it's different and that's
It's a little
fine.
different.
But I think once you're bringing in like the younger you go, the more time there is to develop power dynamics, and I think those power dynamics is what makes these interactions really wrong.
Yes, I agree.
But